I was watching an interview the other day about Alan Watts, and the interviewer asked the interviewee whether he thought that the message that Alan Watts had was being diluted by the fact that some of the people consider him to be an alcoholic and to have problems with alcohol. And that made me think. It made me think and reflect into the fact that messages are important and they carry a significant gravitas. They have something that we need to take away. And not all messages are for everyone, and not all messages are applicable to every situation. But the thing that comes is like, a lot of times we compare who said it and what they said. And we judge the person that said what they said. And then we also omit taking any value from the message that they gave, just because of who they were. So this episode is about reflecting into the message versus the messenger, comparing the two, and understanding how we can learn more about ourselves and about other people. Welcome, my friends, to another episode from Inside Treasures. My name is Phoebus, and I love to challenge myself and those around me for the purpose of growth. This podcast is about helping you to heal, to change, and to grow. Whenever we're listening to a message from whoever it comes, the first thing to ask for ourselves is like, does this work for me? Does this align with who I am? Does this align with the things that I want? Does this fit in any way, shape, or form? Is there truth in this? Maybe the way it was expressed is not fully where it needs to be, but is there any truth in this that I can take away? Is there a truth in it that perhaps makes me uncomfortable? Because sometimes certain truths makes us uncomfortable and we run away from the idea, or we run away from the person who said it because it makes us feel uncomfortable, or because we don't fully agree with it. But is there anything that we can take away from? This is something I'd like you to keep in the back of your mind, because it constantly shows up, whether we're watching the news or we're with our parents, with our family, with our friends. There's certain things other people will say, and we can judge them for what they said, or we can judge the message of what they said. And we can see whether that thing actually aligns with us or we disagree with that. Don't always have to agree with everything that we hear. We don't always have to be on the same page. And it really depends in what way we want to take and receive messages. But the truth in how other people choose to communicate and the things that they're trying to say, what we can cultivate on is not necessarily agreeing with everything that everyone is saying, but it's about creating that space of acceptance. And in that space of acceptance, it can be healthy to disagree. It can be healthy to go against an idea, but measured in that space that other people have the same liberty of expressing themselves, the same one that we want to have. And by cultivating that acceptance towards others, we can cultivating, of course, that acceptance towards ourselves, and giving space for the messages that are coming from within, from the behaviors that we're expressing that perhaps don't suit us the best way possible. Cultivating acceptance helps us with a tendency that we have to judge things, to judge people, to judge ideas. By creating that space, that warmth, that compassion towards ourselves, but towards others as well, we're giving space for people to be. We're giving space for ourselves to be. And even though when judgment shows up, we're able to create that little bit of gap, that little bit of space that helps us respond in a more healthy manner. Judgment can be great about creating distinctions about ourselves, about our environment, about the things that are going on. But when they're showing up in the sense of how we perceive other people and how we perceive ourselves and how we define and put ourselves or other people in a box just because they do something. Just to elaborate on that, when we see someone do a specific action, whether they get angry or they're jealous, we can define them that this is who they are and this is what they do. Hence, they're not really as good people as we were led to believe. But of course, the same applies to ourselves. We can define ourselves by specific behaviors that we don't like. And of course, the behaviors that we don't like, the ones that they stick out the most. And in that sense, they eliminate the idea of who we truly are. And specifying it in us perceiving ourselves by one specific or two specific behaviors, and then creating that self-image, that self-feeding, and it makes us think that this person or us, we are made this certain way. And of course, we think that, well, that's who I am, or that's what I do, and there's nothing else that I can do. So we really get locked in perceiving ourselves, into affecting our self-image and our self-worth in a specific way. But from that point of view, from that judgment, we're not really doing ourselves any favors, and we're not doing anybody any favors. See, as people, we're very complex. We are complex. There are many different sides to us. There are many different things that will make us tick and things that they don't make us tick. The people who press our buttons, the people who don't press our buttons in the same scenarios. We can't really truly be defined for who we are by a set of experiences, by a set of behaviors. All these create a makeup of how we present ourselves to the world, for sure. But without a doubt, behind everyone, behind all the masks, there's a lot more. Behind a specific behavior in a short space of time, there's a lot more about people that is true about them. But when we just highlight the negative and we bring it up and we say, this person is just like that, this person is equal to their behavior. This is where judgment creates a problem in our lives. And like I said, of course this reflects back in us. We put ourselves and see ourselves in certain ways which are not always beneficial. I'm not in favor of hypocrisy or double standards. That's for sure. It takes away from our authenticity. Yet it is something that many of us do on a repeated basis. The problem is most of the times we don't even see it, we don't even register it. A double standard is simply meaning that other people should do this as we expect it, but we never show up for that. We never create that space for us to be able to meet this. And sometimes we might do, but then again we expect everyone else to do. Hypocrisy shows up in many ways in our life, and it's about how we can actually be more authentic with ourselves and more honest with ourselves. And by creating that honesty with ourselves, hey, hold on a minute, have I done this in my life? Am I doing this in my life perhaps right now? But even if I'm not doing it right now, have I done this or something similar like that? Because this can help us think. This can help us excuse others in the name of compassion, understanding, and caring. When we cultivate that, of course, we can embrace it for ourselves. When we see these things in other people, these things always reflect back on us. How we can take what we see and understand ourselves better, but also how we can understand others better by looking within. It's a two-way street. That of creating more authenticity and honesty with ourselves, that of letting go of judgment and becoming more accepting, loving and compassionate towards yourself and of course towards other people. In summary, when we hear things from people, we should hear them for the message, because a lot of times we idolize the person who said it, and the person who said it might not be saying the best things, but just because we create an idol out of them, we think that whatever they say is true, whatever they say it's good. But that's not necessarily always the case. And even if that person, whoever that person is, might be acting a certain way which we don't fully agree, maybe what they're saying is worth paying attention to. Maybe what they're saying we can learn from. Maybe what they're saying, there has some truth in it. I hope whatever I have been saying, there's been some meaning for you, something that you can take away and apply into your life, creating that space, creating that acceptance for yourself, and whatever it is that is going on around you. And as my friend Alan Watts used to say, all that you see out in front of you is how you feel inside your head. I'm here to help you heal, change, and grow. If there's something that resonated with you, something that you need help with, give me a shout at podcast@insidetreasures.com. Thank you for tuning in to another episode from Inside Treasures. My name is Phoebus, and until next time, my friends, let peace guide your life, let love guide your heart, and reason guide your thoughts.